Hello and welcome. This is my first public appearance since my unfortunate motorcycle accident on May the 3rd. And I just got to say, it was a life changing incident. For those of you who may not have heard, I was just on a routine trip on a normal road that I always traverse down to visit a business partner for a meeting at about 9:30. And out of nowhere, I was kind of looking, there's a bit of sun glare happening. I looked down and somebody had pulled out right in front of me without looking. They tend to do that in Bali for some reason. And I basically went straight into them. There was no reaction time, no response time. Completely in shock. I cut up everything. Fortunately, I had a helmet on, but even with the helmet, I still got like a scar here, a big nasty pirate scar there, and then all sorts of road rash over my um, arms and legs. And yeah, I was in shock, so I didn't really notice everything that happened. But this is the real kicker here. This is my broken wrist that was basically reassembled with plates. And this thing is ouchy. And it used to be 10 times worse than this. The bruise used to be like black. I was like, wow, is my arm going to fall off? But that's basically indicative of the vascular damage. So blood vessels breaking due to the swelling that happened. So what ended up happening is my wrist was dislocated, and the wrist has a lot of like fine bones in it and a lot of nerves running through there, obviously, because our hands are very sensitive. So what happened was that the dislocation actually started pinching the nerves, and then everything started swelling. So it was swelling into the nerves and basically just wreaked havoc. I was told that basically I have a 12-hour window to get into surgery after the accident before there's like total nerve death. And I got into surgery at like hour 11. So there was some damage. That was about the best I could do with the Indonesian medical system, which actually turned out to be pretty decent in the end. I got to give big props to the doctors. But the road to recovery has been painful. I haven't been sleeping much because I kind of get a lot of nerve pain at night. And obviously my main hand, this is my like action hand, is out of commission. So I'm basically typing, trying to like do little work stuff here and there, wherever I can with my left hand. And you'll notice too, I shaved my head or at least cut my hair. I feel like it's time for a new beginning. This is like really a reset. And for those of you who may not have known, because I'm not as active online as I used to be, the reason for that is because I've been involved with so many cool projects to the point where I'm working 15-hour days, or was working 15-hour days. And I think that's why the accident happened, is the universe was saying, Dave, you need to stop doing this. I know you can push, but it's not your zone of genius. Stop pushing. And Dave was in work mode, like, yes, I've got to make this happen. I've got to like, help these clients sort of actualize their dreams and goals. And I was going too hard. I was doing a good job holding it together. Was also at a very interesting point in business too, where we're actually growing our team. So when you grow your team from like a smaller team to a larger one, you want to make sure there's enough work coming in. And that was sort of the awkward growth stage. And it was almost like the accident happened and I got caught with my pants down in a way, because I had spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of money coming to Bali, a lot of hidden visa fees. It took Octave Leap quite a while to get to the point of being profitable. And I tended to do well in business, but it was one of those vulnerable moments where we were scaling. There was a lot of personal money invested in scaling the business. The business had taken a while to get off the ground. And so I'm like, okay, I remember even thinking the week before, I'm like, I just hope nothing goes wrong at this point, because I've got it. I see the bigger vision. I've just got to kind of keep the balls rolling, and I'll be fine. And of course, life says, well, David, you're not in control of things. Don't try to control everything. Sometimes you got to surrender. And that's exactly what happened here. So I got in the accident, and I remember I was in the hospital the second night, and I got this dream that came in and said, you know what, David, you actually need to ask your community for help. And so that's why I put this whole fundraiser together, because I'm actually in a position where I could just be like, yeah, screw it. Like, I'll just, borrow a bunch of money and just like try to plow through. But it's like, yeah, that's not the way that life wants it to go. And, I have to say, it's not normal for me to ask for help. It's not normal for me to, be vulnerable. So this is actually completely new territory for me to lean into. But upon doing it, I was just so humbled by the response from all of you. Probably people watching helped out in this. And I just want to show you this campaign. So this is the campaign that I made. That's how ugly my hair was in the hospital, and my face was all puffy with all these cuts and, all the fluids they were pumping into me. I looked Pretty bad, pretty bad. But that's an honest depiction there. Phoenix still love me, of course. But you'll see in a week and a half, I've raised $8,200 for this recovery. I've got to pay the entire surgery. There's actually two surgeries out of pocket, plus the rehabilitation and all the medical support, which these bills are pretty steep. I also did the guy that I hit. It was not my fault, by the way. He pulled out without looking, but he's a Balinese guy. And, for him, if his motorcycle breaks, it's like it's a huge issue. So I said, "Hey man, like I know this isn't my fault and I'm not assuming fault by doing this, but I want to help you out." So I actually paid for his motorcycle repairs. My motorcycle was pretty much totaled, so I paid for that as well. And then of course, I can't actually work at the same capacity right now. So that's sort of where I got the numbers for this. And I know it's steep, but I mean people have really stepped up to help out here. Just recently somebody contributed, a lot of, any amount really helps. But, I've been humbled by some amounts like 250 or $700. And somebody said, try not to flush your hair down the toilet. Well, too late for that, man. My hair is well down the toilet. I'm just kidding. We didn't put it in the toilet. That would be awful for the septic system. But you can see it's not just family, it is friends, it is people I've helped, it's clients, it's people who I've seen on this channel, and they're basically offering whatever they can or whatever they feel is right. And I'm just humbled by these amounts, like 50 bucks, $100. It's amazing. I would have never, ever in my life anticipated this. This is what's telling me that like $1,000, for instance, somebody, Wilson, contributed. Thank you, man. And I'm going to get on replying, but when there's 82 of them and I've got one hand to type, it literally takes me half a day to reply to all of these. But they're just so beautiful. I've really feel touched and I really feel honored to see everybody come out of the woodwork and say, hey, Dave, I'm here to support you during this time, and that, you're being vulnerable, and, we're not here to say, you fucked up or anything like that. It's basically like, we're just here to support you and reconnect. Because sometimes you lose connection with people that you maybe had a meaningful relationship with, and, life goes on, and you don't know how much impact you've had on them and they've had on you until something happens and you're in your moment of need, and they show up there and they're like, yeah, here we are. We're here to help. And I just got to say, like, it warms my heart so much to see that. And so I just got to say thank you to everybody that has donated. It really, really means a lot to me. And I'm going to do my best over the next few days. I'm moving pretty slow, but I will reply to everybody that has contributed. And, too, if you feel like you want to be a part of this, I've got the link in the description below, because I am still raising funds. It's going to be quite a road to recovery until I'm back up in full swing. And I did want to say I had a whole vision for creating an aligned business academy that was going to be coming out soon, plus more donation-based workshops. So I still have that all in the works. I still have a lot of very accessible stuff for the community that will be coming out. It's just now going to be rolled out over a longer period of time. I'm going to be recruiting a little bit more help. And I think that's a big part of the lesson too, is Dave, slow down, ask for some help. You try to bear the weight on your shoulders too much. I can be a workhorse. As exuberant as I show up, as much enthusiasm and inspiration I show up with, I'm also the kind of guy that says it's got to be done right. It's got to be done to a high standard of quality. And, work is probably the area of life I take the most serious. So for me to relinquish that perfectionism and that control is difficult, but that's really what life is inviting me to do. And that's really, I think, one of the biggest lessons in this incident. And I don't see this as a woe is me situation. I see this as a time to stop and reflect and take stock of where everything is at. And it has reconfigured my life totally. It's reconfigured my family life. And yeah, a lot of changes have come to light over the last couple of weeks that are still in play. Maybe I'll share more about them once they're a little bit more underway. But I do feel like it is for the best. I do feel like this is actually one of those catalyst moments where you hit the bottom, you bounce, and then you ascend afterwards. So that's really where I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this as an opportunity for me to basically use this and what's happened to ricochet and hit new heights afterwards. I think every successful person who I read their story, they have sometimes one, maybe multiple dark nights of the soul experiences where, like Joe Dispenza, where he crushed his spine and he was in the hospital for 8 weeks. And then he discovered how to like repair his spine with visualization. I mean, that wouldn't have happened if he hadn't been hit on his bike. So we have to, I've got a visitor here. I've got little Phoenix Rose. Phoenix, why don't you come here and say hi to everybody? Come here. I'm going to show you guys my beautiful daughter. She's grown up now. She's almost 18 months. She's got an attitude and personality. Phoenix, come here. Come here, Phoenix. Come here. Okay, she's wanting to go. Dada. That's Dada over here. Yeah, Phoenix is in the background, looking at me, smiling, but yeah, waving too. But not sure if she wants to come and join the show. I think she's had a pretty busy schedule all day doing baby stuff. She's put her little baby motorcycle helmet on. She's gone to the restaurant. She's had a nap. So now she's got to put a nappy on. So, these are baby things and they take up time too. You got to remember to take time for self-care, Phoenix. That's what Daddy learned. And so that's basically a little update for me. You should have seen me a couple days after, and you can kind of see in that motorcycle incident picture. I'll just show you that again, that, I was looking a lot worse, a lot worse. Like, I'm like, I can't get on camera. I can't show my face. Whereas, yeah, like that was terrible. And, that cut was nasty. It looked like I jumped through a barbed wire fence or something at the time. So this really is a step up. I've got life back in my face. I've got a sense of humor again about things. So as soon as this hand is healed and I'm more rested, I'll be putting things back into motion with more gumption and, maybe the right alignment too, because I'll be the first to admit when I'm going like that in that mode, I'm probably not my zone of genius. And so it is that careful balance, right? It's that razor's edge between too much and too little. We're doing too much, we're going to miss some of the subtleties about the way that we're doing things. If we do too little, we're spending much time and we're not generating enough momentum. Thank you, Lisa. It is lovely to see you too. And Colise here says, didn't know you're in an accident. Glad to see and hear that you're doing well and holding your frequency high with love and self-care. Yes, thank you, Colise. It's been, like I said, it's been challenging because I'm only getting like 2 or 3 hours of sleep, waking up in the night. I'm really trying not to do too much painkillers and other stuff like that. I don't really want to be too medicated during this process. And I'm glad too that, now in 2023, you can get surgery without other medical interventions, which is very helpful, as I don't intend to ever go down that route. But I'm able to do surgery, and obviously there's a round of antibiotics in there because there's an open wound, and then there's some painkillers and anti-inflammatories, and it's like, and I also went to see some great energy healers. I went to see an acupuncturist. I've got some Chinese herbs happening. So for me, it's a blend. I used to be quite anti-Western medicine until I realized that, when it comes to major lacerations and, bone breakages and emergency surgery, the Western system is pretty good for stitching you back up pretty quickly and, reattaching your insides. It's not really good for long-term chronic care, I think, because it compartmentalizes things. And I think that's where we need elements of holistic health in the picture as well. We need to be taking care of our overall system in the long term. So I really see as holistic health is great for long-term care, and the Western system is something that's great for emergencies and accidents such as this. So thank you very much for joining me for this update. If you haven't donated and you want to, I would greatly appreciate it. It really, really touches my heart. I've got the fundraiser open. We're only a week and a half in. I've set it for 30 days. So there's a link in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're catching this on Facebook or in my email, then the description should be around as well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll be back with an update fairly soon. Bye-bye.
This is Octave Leap. Innovation, regeneration, and human optimization.